Hello everyone, welcome to Eco Farm Chronicles. Today, we will explore the most expensive nut in the world, macadamia nuts. Famous not only for its delicious taste, but also for its shell that is harder than concrete. This nut takes up to 5 years to fully develop. So, how to harvest and process this special nut? Let's visit a macadamia factory and watch the interesting shelling process. The high value of macadamia nuts comes not only from their unique fatty taste, but also from the elaborate cultivation, harvesting, and processing process. The hard shell requires the strength of a parrot's beak to break. For farmers, this process requires not only patience, but also specialized machinery and technical knowledge. This nut is native to Australia, where it has been used as food for thousands of years. The discovery of the macadamia nut remains a mystery, but it has been cultivated and used for centuries. Its hard shell makes it difficult for those who try to open it themselves. Its smooth, creamy taste makes it a favorite in gourmet cuisine. It takes 5 years for the tree to bear fruit, and the hard protective shell extends the harvest time. In the fields of South Africa where the trees are mature, harvesting typically begins in the fall, involving thousands of workers over 5 months. The soft nuts inside are protected by 2 shells, a soft outer shell and a hard inner shell. Farmers monitor the growth of the macadamia nuts to determine the ideal time to harvest. When the nuts are perfectly ripe, the shells naturally burst and fall to the ground, ready for picking. For collection, workers use modern machinery, such as a vibrator, to help the ripe nuts fall. Collecting macadamia nuts is a physically demanding job, with each worker collecting up to 700 kilograms of nuts per day. To protect the quality of the nuts, they are handled gently, avoiding damage or injury during the harvesting process. When the macadamia nuts fall, the outer shell begins to deteriorate after 24 hours, so they need to be collected quickly and sent to the cleaning process at the plantation. After harvesting, the nuts are immediately transported to the factory to avoid further damage. Upon entering the factory, the macadamia nuts are washed and brushed to remove dirt and impurities, ensuring the surface of the nuts is clean. This is an important step to ensure the nuts meet the standards before being sent to the next stage of the processing. To ensure that the macadamia nuts are completely clean and free of any contaminants, the nuts are thoroughly cleaned before continuing the process. After removing the outer shell, the macadamia nuts are fed into a sorting machine in the processing plant. Here, impurities such as stones and twigs are removed by a conveyor belt to ensure the nuts are clean for further processing. This process helps maintain the purity and quality of the macadamia nuts. At this stage, the macadamia nuts still retain their ability to germinate, but for commercial production, this can be a problem. If the nuts germinate due to high moisture content, they will turn brown and taste bitter, losing their attractive flavor for the food industry. To prevent germination, the nuts are dried at a temperature of around 25 C, significantly reducing the moisture content and preventing the ability to germinate. Once the nuts are completely dried, they can be stored without worrying about germination. However, the hard shell still covers the nuts and requires special technology to remove it. The shelling process requires specialized machinery, which contributes to the high cost of macadamia nuts. Once dried, the nuts are transported to the golden macadamias shelling plant, about 30 kilometers away. Employees check the drying process by gently shaking the nuts to hear if the kernel inside moves freely. If it does, it means the nuts are dry enough to continue cracking without damaging the kernel. However, because the shell is so hard, the factory needs special machinery to handle it. The sheller is equipped with a sharp and hard carbide blade that can cut the shell instead of smashing it. The pressure required to crack the macadamia nut shell is about 2.68 kilopascals, which requires a lot of strength. This machine cracks the shell while keeping the kernel intact, a highly technical process that results in pure macadamia nuts for consumers. After the hard shell is removed, the macadamia nuts are further processed through a series of modern machines. First, the nuts are passed through a series of mesh and vibrating screens with holes of different sizes, allowing the nuts to pass through while retaining the shells. The intact nuts will be at the end of the screening chain, while the broken pieces and shells are retained at the front. These broken pieces are not qualified for direct sale, but are still useful in the production of other products such as confectionery and cereal bars. The factory also uses an optical color sorter, which distinguishes between brown shells and white nuts, separate them effectively. In addition, the high-energy shells can be used as fuel for the drying oven, helping the factory save energy and increase productivity. To grade the quality of the macadamia nuts, the nuts are passed through a series of conveyor belts. The most mature nuts, with high oil content, are prioritized. Distinguishing between mature and immature nuts can be difficult because they look similar, but the factory solves this by using a flotation tank filled with brine. Nuts with an oil content of over 70% float to the top and are easily separated. The qualified nuts are then sent to the next stage, where they can be processed into macadamia butter, a premium kitchen product. These nuts continue through a screening process to be divided into 12 different quality groups, including 4 whole nuts and 8 pieces. At this stage, the nut samples are rigorously tested for quality. Operators will remove any nuts that are damaged by insects or contain substandard shell fragments to ensure that they do not have an unpleasant taste or are inconvenient to chew. Once all the tests have been passed, the macadamia nuts are dried for the final time and are prepared for packaging for shipping. After packaging, the nuts are placed in large 18-ton crates and begin their journey across the ocean to reach consumers around the world. The process from tree to table lasts about 90 days, ensuring that the macadamia nuts are fresh and of high quality when they reach customers. Finally, please like and share the video if you find it useful, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the next exciting content about high-quality agricultural products.